Hello everyone. In today's session, we will be continuing with periodic classification, class 11, periodic properties. This is the second video of periodic classification chapter. Okay, in this video, we will be talking about the first periodic property, that is atomic radius. But to understand that, first let us see what do we mean by the term periodic property. Periodic, as the name itself says, periodic means something which is happening again and again, right? So we can say, in terms of the properties, the properties which become same after regular intervals, or we can say occurrence of the properties, the similar properties after regular intervals is called as periodicity or periodic property. Now suppose we can also give the definition like this: the properties which are indirectly related to electronic configuration. Now why it is said like that? Because after some regular intervals we know that their configuration is becoming similar. Which configuration we are saying? The valence shell configuration. Like we say, the first group, the general configuration is ns1, second group ns2, likewise 13th group ns2 np1, 14th group ns2 np2, 15 ns2 np3. Means throughout the group you will find similar valence configuration. So, and we know that the valence shell electrons only participate in the bond formation, so obviously their properties also will be same. So we say the properties which are indirectly related to the electronic configuration and show gradual gradation when we move from left to right in the period or from top to bottom in the group. This is the general aspect. Though when we talk about the individual group or period, you may find some exceptional cases also. But let us see, when we are talking about the individual properties, individual groups and all, we will be discussing about it. Right? So I am considering the first property, that is atomic radius. Atomic radius. Now this, let us define first what is atomic radius. The distance, what is atomic radius? The distance from center of the nucleus, from the center of the nucleus to the outermost shell containing electrons. Outermost shell containing electrons. Okay, this is the atomic radius. Now children, we have studied recently atomic structure. You know it's not that easy to calculate the atomic radius. What all difficulties can be there? We have studied de Broglie's theory, hypothesis, or Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. According to that, the position is not fixed. Every time the electron is moving around the nucleus, it will be moving in the form of the wave. And if we try to locate the exact position, we will not be able to find the velocity and the position accurately and simultaneously. Then what are the difficulties? We will talk about that first. What difficulties we may come across while measuring the atomic radius? So what difficulties we may come across while measuring the atomic radius? We are discussing first one. First one, we know that the size of an atom cannot be determined precisely. Cannot be determined precisely. It cannot be determined precisely. Why we cannot? We know the position is not fixed. It doesn't have a proper electron cloud, doesn't have a proper boundary. So we cannot find the position accurately. The position of the electron we are not able to find. So obviously radius also we will not be able to calculate. Second important thing, what makes the radius to be calculated difficultly is it is not possible to isolate atom. It is not possible to isolate atom. We know that every atom is very unstable. It has a tendency to combine with another atom and form a molecule. It always exists in the combined state. So it's not easy to isolate one atom. Of course, for noble gases, we can say that noble gases exist in the atomic state. Their atomicity is 1. But what about others? They will always be existing in the molecular state. So it's not possible to isolate atom. That is a major difficulty in finding the atomic radius. The third difficulty is atoms mostly exist in bonded state. And moreover, in this bonded state, based upon what is the bonded state, what type of bond it is having, the radius will change. So we can say the atomic, I am writing AR for atomic radius. Atomic radius changes with the type of bond. What type of bond is there? What type of bond exists in that particular molecule? Based upon that, the atomic radius also will change. Now, first let us see what all types of radius will be possible based upon how many types of bonds are there. Okay, so I am considering, this is the next side heading you can write, that is the types of atomic radius. The first type of the atomic radius we are considering is covalent radius. Okay, let us write what is covalent radius. So the definition for this is half of the internuclear distance between two atoms bonded by covalent bond. We know how is the covalent bond formed? Covalent bond is formed by sharing of the electrons, or in chemical bond further you will study that it is formed by overlapping of the atomic orbitals. The atomic orbitals overlap, and this type of the radius is considered mainly for what type of the element? For non-metals. We know that non-metals form covalent bond. So the radius will be covalent radius. So suppose I consider hydrogen molecule. This is one hydrogen atom. This is another hydrogen atom. This is the nucleus of one hydrogen. This is the nucleus of the another hydrogen. This is having 1s orbital. This is having 1s. So 1s of one combines, overlaps with 1s of another. So I will measure the internuclear distance. Say this is A, this is B. If we check, bring it down. Okay, this internuclear distance, if we measure, so suppose the distance is, say, AB distance, the distance between the two, divided by 2, this will give you covalent radius. Did you follow? It is the internuclear distance. What is AB here? It is internuclear distance between two bonded atoms. Between two bonded atoms, the internuclear distance, if divided by 2, this is called as covalent radius. Now, if I have to calculate for, say, Cl2, what will I do? Two chlorine atoms, and then the internuclear distance you divide by 2. If I have to calculate for bromine, I will take bromine 2 atoms, they are overlapping, forming a covalent bond, divide by 2. The internuclear distance divided by 2. That is not a big problem. Suppose if I have to calculate for two, such example where the two atoms are not same. For example, HCl. If I have to calculate for HCl, HCl also has a covalent bond. Don't think it is H plus and Cl minus. It is having a covalent bond. So we cannot measure the internuclear distance of the 2 divided by 2 because the two atoms are not same. So the first condition here is the two atoms should be same. The two atoms should be same. In this, if you try to calculate the covalent radius, it will not be right. It will not be right. Got it? So the two atoms should be same. Okay, let us consider one more example. Suppose I say O2. If I have to calculate for N2, then what to do? You know that in oxygen, between two oxygen atom there is double bond. Between two nitrogen atom there is a triple bond. Now can I select them? Can I select this? If I consider there is a covalent bond between two, first thing is double bond. Double bond means the bond length will be less. Second thing is we will not be able to measure the accurate distance because the two atoms are having a double bond. The length will be very less than the actual. One sigma bond is formed and one more pi bond. Same way here, triple bond. Triple bond means we cannot again select. So we need to select such molecules in which the two atoms are same, first condition. Second, both should have a single bond. If it is a double bond or a triple bond, you will not be able to measure the radius accurately. Clear? So what to do now? What molecule should we select for oxygen? We will be selecting hydrogen peroxide. Okay, this is open book structure, but I've drawn like this just to explain there is a single bond. So now the distance between two oxygen atoms, internuclear distance, can be calculated. Divided by 2 will give you the covalent radius of this. If I have to calculate for nitrogen, then I have to select such example where there is a single bond between two nitrogen atoms. This is what example we consider. What is this example, children? This is hydrazine. Okay, this is very important. So what all I have discussed so far? What is covalent radius? Half of the internuclear distance between the two atoms divided by 2. This is covalent radius. Then I said the two atoms should be same. To find the covalent radius, the two atoms should be same. If they are different, we will not be able to calculate the actual value. Then we also discussed the two atoms should have a single bond. Then only we can measure. Okay. Now let us take another one. Now how we will define this? Van der Waals radius. The similar definitions can be given for all, So we can write Van der Waals radius as half of the internuclear distance. Internuclear distance between two atoms. Between two atoms held by Van der Waals forces. I've written this short form for this. Van der Waals forces. What are Van der Waals forces, children? Van der Waals forces are very weak forces of attraction. As we said, covalent radius is between two non-metals. Now where is Van der Waals radius? Van der Waals radius, one thing is it is present in noble gases. All noble gases atom, they are all monoatomic. All noble gases, between the atoms the force of attraction is very, very weak, and Van der Waals radius is said to be larger than expected one. Why? We will be considering. Let me draw the figure in the next. Please pause in between and make notes of whatever we are discussing. Okay, now let us see. Suppose this is one noble gas atom, another noble gas atom. You remember in the previous one we have shown the overlapping. Now we will not show the overlapping. We will just draw both the atoms side by side. There is no overlapping. Van der Waals forces are weak. So this atom nucleus, this atom ka nucleus, you will measure the distance. Let this be A and B. The distance AB divided by 2 will give you Van der Waals radius. This is Van der Waals radius. This is noble gas example. Noble gas example. May not be necessary that it is always there in between noble gases. We may consider, some examples where chlorine molecule, another chlorine molecule. Between two chlorine molecules, suppose this is one chlorine molecule and this is another chlorine molecule. Between two molecules also there are Van der Waals forces. Okay, we will be talking about this further in states of matter. But as of now, just I am telling that this is one chlorine molecule, Cl2. This is one chlorine molecule. Between the chlorine molecules, this, as we discussed in the beginning, the atomic radius changes with the type of the bond. If I am measuring between two chlorine molecules only, between two chlorine atoms, this will be covalent radius. Between one molecule and another molecule, if I try to measure, this will be Van der Waals radius. Let this be C, this be D. Between the two, this C and D, if I take CD distance, this is not minus, children, CD distance divided by 2, this is also Van der Waals radius. This is also Van der Waals radius. But this radius will be larger. So we will say the Van der Waals radius is larger than the expected one. So for chlorine molecule, I can measure covalent radius only. If I am considering two chlorine atom, between that internuclear distance divided by 2 will be covalent radius. Between one molecule and another molecule, this is one chlorine molecule and this is another chlorine molecule. Between them, the two chlorine atoms, if I consider, and you did measure the distance, internuclear distance, and I divide by 2, that will be called as van der Waals radius. Okay, so if I have to compare, I will say the van der Waals radius is comparatively larger than the covalent radius. Okay, not comparatively, it is much larger than that. Okay, so this is one thing very clear. Let us take the third type of the radius, metallic radius. Metallic radius, whatever is a name, on that basis we can think, what type of bond will it have. Okay, so what is metallic radius? Every time we are defining in a similar manner. We will write half of the internuclear distance, half of the internuclear distance between the atoms, held by metallic bond. As the name only says, metallic bond is a bond which is present between between two metal atoms. Now, what type of bond do you think is there in metal atom? I mean, do they overlap, or do they? Are they present as we discussed in van der Waals? No. Let's see. This is one atom, one metal atom. This is another metal atom. This is another metal atom. There is no overlapping. This is not overlapping. Just they are present side by side. They are just present, side by side. Internuclear distance, whatever it is, E and F I can write. Internuclear distance between the two atoms, say EF distance, divided by 2 is called as metallic radius. So, if I have to say, out of all the radius, which is the best calculated radius, obviously your answer will be metallic radius. So if I have to put them in the order, it will be, van der Waals radius, the maximum. Then you have is metallic radius, and then you have is covalent radius. Okay. Till here it is clear. So that means we in today's class, what we have discussed is what is atomic radius. Now one thing is that atomic radius will be measured in the similar units what we have discussed earlier, that is picometer, angstrom unit, nanometer, etc. Right, and then we have discussed what all difficulties are there in calculating the atomic radius. Then we discussed that a same atom may have a different radius depending upon what bonded state it is existing in. Okay, and what all types of the atomic radius we have discussed? We have discussed 3 types of the atomic radius: van der Waals, metallic and covalent radius, out of which van der Waals radius is the maximum, then comes metallic radius, and the lowest is covalent radius, because it is formed by overlapping. In this they are just present side by side. This there is a gap in between. Okay, so in the next video we will be talking about variation of the atomic radius in group and period, because there are a lot of exceptional cases. I will take it in a separate video. Okay, fine. Please make notes.